Well, altcoins are getting absolutely crushed. If it feels as painful as it is, it's because this is the highest that dominance has been this entire cycle. Altcoins are getting absolutely wrecked. In this video, we're going to talk about it. And ultimately, we're going to give some guidance on is alt season canceled, right? Because alt seasons have not been broken down this bad since last cycle, right? 2022. So this is a tough, not a tough video to make, but just a lot going on in the market. I respect your guys' time. We're going to jump right into it. Bitcoin, it's been tough. We are at 94,000 right now. Ironically, I'm not as worried, and I promise I'm going to kind of build a thesis and tell you why at the end of this video. But for the past couple days, we were trading in this channel here. It feels crazy to think about. This is on the daily candle. Just last week, we were trading at $106,000. Tariffs were announced and the market has absolutely dipped. We've actually fallen out of this wedge and we've gone back into our horizontal lines of support and resistance. We blew right through this line. We actually wicked down to this support line, which is right around $91,000. It is interesting how these lines hold up over times. I drew these lines weeks ago, right? And you got to respect the trend. Bitcoin's down quite a bit. This is the real story. Bitcoin dominance wicked up above 64%. Guys, this is the highest that Bitcoin dominance has been this entire cycle. And I don't think people fully kind of recognize what this move means, right? So we came back, we hit 61% in November. Guys, Bitcoin dominance has not been this high since January Q1 2021, right? It is absolutely skyrocketing. This is why alts are getting wrecked, right? Bitcoin market cap, this is the percentage of Bitcoin that makes up the entire crypto market cap. So over 60% of the market cap is just Bitcoin. As this number gets higher, altcoins are performing worse compared to Bitcoin. This spiked up to 64%, pretty gnarly. So, if we take a look at total 3, it's going to be kind of a bloodbath, right? Total 3 has been falling quite a bit. We're going to follow this over the next few days. No surprise here. The fear and greed index is 44. Guys, I did a live stream with Kate O'Neill this morning, and this was at 60, right? 60, just, I don't know, 9 hours ago. Now it's at 44. I suspect this is even going to be lower tomorrow. Over $2 billion have been liquidated from leveraged positions in just the last 24 hours, right? More liquidations than both the COVID crash and the FTX implosion. So this is kind of in a lot of ways, a historic day, right? Bitcoin dominance is peaking out this cycle. Alts are getting absolutely wrecked. And we've seen a ton of leveraged liquidations, right? Almost $2 billion in long liquidations and over $300 million in folks who were short the market via leverage. So over 2.1, almost $2.2 billion in just the last 24 hours. Again, we haven't seen, this is more liquidations than March 2020. And just to kind of put some context on that, because I do think it's important to kind of think about, I put this yellow line here. So this is the pandemic, right? When the market absolutely nuked. This yellow line is representing that. We had more liquidations today than we did 5 years ago. And I guess that kind of makes sense, right? The Bitcoin market cap is much larger than what it was back then, right? Back then it was just 8 or 9,000. So not totally unexpected with that, but interesting nonetheless. Yep. So we're talking more than the COVID dump, all that jazz. We talked about, Bitcoin just really flushing out the market here. And we talked about dominance. Lots going on here. I do think this is going to pull back, but it's going to take some time, right? The altcoin market, we're nowhere close to that. We need to get back down to the low 50s for our alts to run. And let's just see where that is right now. This is where we're at. For us to get down to the percentage where we were in March, altcoin dominant, or excuse me, Bitcoin dominance needs to fall over 12%. So we got some ways to go there. Guys, before we go through the rest of the video, I am almost at 2,000 subs, and that's because of you guys. I really, really appreciate all the help and support. If you guys aren't subbed, consider subscribing. It really helps me out. You'll see more Bitcoin and crypto content if you do. So go ahead, like and subscribe. The video really helps me out. Also, down below is my BTCC link. Guys, you can get up to a 10% bonus for first-time deposits. This is a limited time thing, so take advantage of it if you can. The bonuses, they're worth up to 10 Gs, right? This is a no VPN, no KYC trading platform, so I would really, really recommend them. And you can go up to 500x leverage on Bitcoin, Solana. Definitely check it out. Link down below. All right, guys, what's causing all of this, right? Bitcoin slides towards 90 Gs after these tariffs were mentioned on Friday. So this is the big driver of why the market's dumping, but it's not the only reason, right? Another reason is the Bank of Japan raises interest rates to their highest. It's the highest rate that they've increased rates in 17 years, right? So this is pretty gnarly. I actually think this is contributing more than people realize. And the other thing is when we fell this August down to 49,000, it was because this carry yen trade was unwinding from the Bank of Japan. So I think it's tariffs. I think it's the Bank of Japan raising rates. And it's just kind of the perfect storm, right? All of this is coming together all at once. And then, let's just look at it just for fun too, because I would imagine the Dixie, and this is the US dollar index, it's been increasing, right? It's up to 109. I would imagine once these tariffs kind of take hold, this will eventually bottom out at some point, right? So tariffs, they're having a short-term influence on the Dixie, but I do suspect the Dixie is going to fall back. It's kind of been trading in this range for what feels like the last couple of years. We need a weak dollar so that altcoin season can start. And we're going to talk about altcoin season and when that's going to pop off in just a second. Guys, I'm going to link our Discord group down below. It's completely free. I have nothing to sell you. Zilch, nada, nothing. Take a look. We're building an awesome community. We're talking about altcoins that you should be DCAing to, or at least putting on your radar with this recent dip. Okay, so what do we have to look forward to, right? We just talked about altcoins getting absolutely wrecked, the most liquidations like this cycle, and Bitcoin dominance speaking. So what does next week hold for us? Well, we have the unemployment rate next Friday. This is February 7th. I suspect this unemployment rate could give us some breathing room if we get a good print, right? Lower than expected or at expectations. This could give Bitcoin some juice or gas that it needs. President Trump is also meeting with Trudeau, the Canada Prime Minister, tomorrow. And who knows, this is probably optimistic, but maybe they come to an agreement with these tariffs and the market can kind of just chill out a little bit. All right, I tweeted this earlier tonight. Bookmark this tweet. Bitcoin went down to 93,000. Bitcoin dominance spiked up to 64,000. March 9th, it's my prediction that the Fed will stop quantitative tightening, right? So for those who aren't aware, quantitative tightening is when the Fed is reducing its balance sheet, right? Its balance sheet is mostly made up of mortgage-backed securities and treasury bonds. We've been reducing our balance sheet since Q2 of 2022, right? We're just slowly reducing our balance sheet. And this is bad for risk assets like Bitcoin, the Russell, the stock market. Quantitative easing is the opposite, right? Where the Fed's increasing their balance sheet, and this is good for Bitcoin. I suspect that in March 9th, at the next FOMC meeting, they will announce that they will stop quantitative tightening. That does not mean they need to start quantitative easing right away. This could just go into a pause, kind of like you see here, right? This blue line is the Fed balance sheet. From this time period here, they just pause their balance sheet. They didn't really increase it or decrease it. I suspect this is what we are headed for next. And we can kind of see that here, right? So the next FOMC meeting is March 9th. There's an 82% chance that rates stay exactly where they are, and I'm expecting them to stay where they are. But I do think when the FOMC meeting, when they release their meeting minutes, I do think that they'll talk about quantitative easing. So, guys, we're going through it right now, right? We're in the thick of it. Bitcoin is really kind of struggling right now, but maybe this is the washout that we need for Bitcoin to then rally. I suspect altcoin season is going to start as soon as quantitative easing stops. That could be as early as March. Now, obviously, none of this is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy on the internet sharing my passion for Bitcoin. Speaking of which, guys, I am almost at 2,000 subs, which feels surreal to say. If you guys are getting any value out of this video, consider liking, subscribing, really helps the channel, and it'll help you see more crypto-related content. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Is alt season canceled? Will we get an alt season later this year? I read all the comments below. Let me know, and I'll see you guys on the next video.